get that message about recording. All right, well, we're going to get going. I see, again, as you come in, please type your name in the chat. It looks like there are about 7 of you here this morning. So I appreciate you coming today. More snow this morning. Woke up to even more. You just got done shoveling and getting the car cleared off, and just in time to shovel some more. So be safe. It's supposed to be extremely cold over the next couple days, so make sure you stay warm or stay inside and all that good stuff. So my name is Kevin Yoakum, and I'll be your instructor this semester. We're going to meet every Monday morning around 9:20 or so, and we'll go till 11:20. Some weeks we may get done sooner. Like this week, I don't think we're going to go the entire 2 hours. And again, this is a Zoom session, so you can come and go as you please. If you have to use the restroom, if you have to go outside and get some fresh air, if you need a snack, whatever it is, just you're certainly free to do what you need to do. Or if you just don't want to, if something comes up, you get a call from work and they want you to come in, that's fine too. So very loose in that way. So what I want to do, I think most of you are familiar with Blackboard. I think all of you have probably had Gateway to Success, or you may be taking it this semester. So I do everything in Blackboard. Everything you need to access will be available to you through Blackboard, any of your or Visible Body, which you can access through Blackboard as well. So I want to give you a little bit of a tour of Blackboard. I want to talk about the syllabus a little bit and just some basic kind of course expectations. So let's see. First thing, so announcements are always at the top along our Blackboard page. The announcements are going to be kind of they're emails too. So it's basically a log of all of the emails that I send out. So the next tab, Student Resources, this is again kind of harkens back to Gateway to Success. Has some information on virtual tutoring. And again, just because you're doing this virtually, if you do need tutoring face-to-face, I believe definitely 3 out of the 4 campuses, Kenosha, Racine, and Elkhorn, and I believe Burlington as well, they do have face-to-face tutoring. So if you need to go on campus, you can certainly do that. You'll want to make an appointment more than likely with them, and you can reach out to me if you need help with setting that up. But anyway, you can get virtual tutoring. How to use Zoom? You're here, so you must know how to use Zoom. Emailing through Blackboard, submitting assignments through Blackboard. Microsoft, you get free Microsoft 365. So it talks about how to, that link will show you how to do that if you haven't done that already. Anyway, et cetera and so forth. So there's a lot of different tabs in there. Again, these are more kind of student services type of items. So again, not specific to this class. So the rest of this is going to be specific to this class. The next tab is the syllabus. Now, let me do something real quick. Edit mode off. So this is in essence the view you would see. So the syllabus, we'll look through that. And then once we do, you're going to want to click the Mark Reviewed button. And I'll go through in the next few days and check that, and I'll give you extra credit for marking that as reviewed. But we're going to review it together, so you can see what's going on here. So again, this is general A&P. We're going to meet 9:20 to around 11:20 every Monday until April 25th. That's the last day of class. And again, we may meet that day, we may not, being that it's the last day of class. We'll just see what happens when we get there. Again, location is in the Zoom room. Strengths, I think, again, if you took Gateway to Success, you guys did your strength finding exercise. So anyway, so there are my strengths on there: learner, achiever, responsibility, consistency, and analytical. And again, there's my email. If you need anything, just send me an email. You can reply to any of the announcements I send out. That works too. Office hours, if you need any assistance outside of this 9:20 to 11:20 block of time, you can certainly meet with me in Zoom on Tuesday, really anytime Tuesdays. Really Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have quite a bit of open blocks of time for meeting if this doesn't work. And then Wednesday nights, starting not this week, starting next week, I'll be on the Elkhorn campus in my office, North Building 221. Between 5 and 6. So if you need to come in for any reason, that's where I'll be. And generally, as far as office hours go, if you do plan on coming or you need some assistance during these times, shoot me an email first and let me know that you're going to be coming, because the Zoom room, if I'm with another student, it would be closed for you to come in. And so you may say, oh, I can't get in. So don't give up. You send me an email, because like I say, I might be in with another student. Same with it in my office. I may be meeting with another student. So, but anyway, send me an email if you need any assistance from me outside of class. Most of the time, students are able to get what they need through either Zoom or through email. So what are we doing this semester? We're going to do basic structure. So next semester in advanced A&P, we get into more of the functional stuff. So this semester, you'll notice in your visible body quizzes and with your assignments, there's a lot of identification, a lot of labeling, a lot of what is the structure type of questions. So that's what we focus on primarily this semester. You do have, as far as textbooks go, the Openstack text is a free e-text that we use. I'll look at that, or I'll pull that up in a few minutes and we can look at that in more detail. The visible body courseware, again, several of you have already logged in. Some of you have even started doing some of the activities in there, some of the exams. So we'll look at visible body a little bit today as well. And by the way, too, if you've taken this course before with a different instructor and you purchase visible body, you should still be able, because you have, I think it's a 1 or 2 year access to the courseware. So if you took this course last semester and you purchased visible body, you can still use that same subscription. What would happen is you would just get moved from the class you had last semester into this class. And how you do that, I think you have to log, because you'd have a login. So you'd log into your visible body and then just go to the link that I sent you, or this link here. This is our specific course link. And then you should be able to get right in without having to purchase it again. Pardon me. So anyway, visible body, we'll talk more about what that looks like in a few minutes. The course outcome summary is basically the checklist of all the things we have to do that the state of Wisconsin provides all of us. We're part of the Wisconsin Technical College system. So all the technical colleges in Wisconsin have the same objectives, and that's what the objectives for this course are. By the way, too, we have an associate's degree program now. So many of you are in allied health programs, whether it's nursing or surge techs or physical therapy assistant, dental assistant, whatever it might be. Some of you may not be medical at all. Maybe you're doing this class as your general science, but we do have an associate's degree path now as well. So you can get your nursing and all of your studies done and walk out with a nursing diploma, but you can also walk out with an associate's degree. Let's see. Course attendance, again, if you have questions on that, send me an email. I can help you further if you need help. Again, generally, attendance is encouraged, not required. You do need, if you're not going to be coming to these classes each week, you need to make sure you're logging into Blackboard at least every other day. Some students log in once a week, some log, depending on their schedule, some log in several times a day. Everybody's different, but try not to let more than a week go by without having logged in. Let's see, grade policy. The whole course is at a 1,220 points. And so you need to be generally kind of in this range for an A, 1,134 out of 1,220, and so on. And I think all of you need to be in the B range. So you need to be around that 975 to 1,000 points mark. And how do you attain those points? Well, we'll look at it in a few minutes, but we have what's called a Padlet for this course and for my advanced course. If you take advanced with me, you'll have those again. And those are at 10 points apiece, and you have 12 of those throughout the semester. So again, we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. You'll have 5 units assignments to do. So plenty of time. We have 14 weeks, so roughly about every 3 weeks or so, you'll have a lab assignment to turn in. And again, if you're coming every week, we're going to work on those together, so you won't have as much. It won't be as heavy lifting when you're trying to do it all by yourself. And then visible body quizzes. I know it looks like a big number, 45, but again, it calculates out to about 3 quizzes a week. They're only 10 questions. They're very short. So again, you want to be keeping up with your visible body quizzes as we go. And then which is again, these 2 items are what we're going to do each Monday. When we're together, we'll knock those out and see where we're at each week. All right, final exam, 150 points for that. And there's just one. So no midterm exam, no lab exams. That's it. This is how you're graded. Now, the final exam is multiple choice. It's cumulative. It's open right now, actually. So you could feasibly take it today if you wanted to. It's unlimited attempts. And it keeps the highest score. There is a time limit. It's a big time limit. I think it gives you like 3 hours to take it. And you can use whatever resources you need to get those questions answered. This may seem somewhat unorthodox or unusual, but generally what we've found in pedagogy and education research regarding exams, especially with medical students, is that you have the ability in the real world to access the answers to the questions that you may have or that you'll be faced with in a clinical setting. You can certainly ask your colleagues when you're in the clinic if you're unsure about something. You can certainly ask the physician. You can even, most of our nurses spend their day with a tablet where they have all the patient files and charts and the Google machine. So the idea in learning anatomy and physiology and really learning any of your nursing courses and foundation courses is that you're able to apply what you're learning in the field. And so part of working in the field is, again, trying to get as close to 100% as you can. When we're working with our patients, we want to make sure that what we're telling them and what types of diagnoses or prognoses or prescriptions or whatever procedures, diagnostics, whatever we're discussing with our patients and with our colleagues, we want to make sure that what we're doing and discussing is as close to 100% correct, right? We don't want to do a dosage. We don't want to be 75% sure that the dosage that we're giving them is correct, right? We want to be 100% sure. And how do you know if you're 100% sure? Well, certainly experience will guide you that way, but also double checking and triple checking and make sure you read everything correctly. And if you're still unsure, look it up or get assistance. That's how the real world works. because I can't have nurses in my clinic guessing and thinking that 75 or even 80% is good enough. So, but that doesn't mean I expect my nurses to know every single thing that they ever learned in school. I know that's not the case. Most of what you learn is outside of school and actually in the clinic. So the short time we have together over these 14 weeks is really designed for you to understand how to seek out and problem solve and critically think to get the right answer, and to use all tools necessary. This isn't the old days where I'm at the front of the class and all of you sit and you listen to me and you study your asses off and just to take one test or a couple tests, and they're really hard and you feel like you're going to bomb, and you don't have any type of lifeline, and maybe even cheat, get a little note card and write stuff on the palm of your hand. No, that's the old days. We don't do that anymore. I certainly don't. I haven't done that for years. Test anxiety and all of this anxiety about learning doesn't exist in this class. So if you ever feeling anxious or nervous or scared or freaked out or in a panic, just send me an email and we'll get you off the ledge. Because again, this information is strictly that. It's informative. You're going to use it for your livelihood. And as you go over these next 14 weeks and you stay on task and you do the assignments and the visible bodies, your knowledge of the foundations of anatomy is going to explode. So again, this isn't meant to be any kind of big punitive challenge of beating you over the head with tons of info and expecting you to regurgitate it. So enjoy the ride, because it goes fast, but I don't want you to feel like you're overwhelmed. So the information is overwhelming enough as it is. So the last thing I want to do is make it even harder. So, but that doesn't mean you don't have to do work. It means that you're exploring a new territory potentially. If some of you work in the field already, then some of this information is going to be a little easier for you. If you've never worked in the field, if you've never had an A&P class, then it's going to be a little bit more eye-opening. You may have to do a little more work, but it just all is not lost. You'll do just fine. And furthermore, what we do in advanced is build on what we've done here. All right. So anyhow, that's my little soapbox. That's about it. The rest of this stuff you can look through on your own. So I'm going to get out of there. There's a calendar. I'll show you that too. So let's go get out of the syllabus. And again, mark reviewed once you've reviewed it. All right. So let's look at the course calendar. And again, I have the dates in here. Roughly, 2 to 3 weeks per unit. So I've got unit 1, weeks 1 and 2. We're probably going to go. We may go into week 3 a little bit. So, but anyway, because this week I really just want to get you guys exploring the basics of the course structure, and then start diving in a little bit with some of the first assignments. And then next week when we get together, we're going to pull up assignment 1 and the visible body labs 1 through 5, and basically go through those together and get some of that stuff figured out. So I'll talk about that in more detail as we get there. But anyway, musculoskeletal, nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, lymphatic, and then we'll finish off with respiratory, digestive, urinary, and reproductive. Now down here with each of the units, I have the lectures, the YouTube lectures with hyperlinks. So unit 1, there are 4 YouTube lectures that you'll want to watch. Those lectures have the PowerPoints with them. which I'll show you as well in just a few seconds. Okay, and then there's that course outcome summary from the state of Wisconsin. It basically is the checklist of things that we have to do this semester. All right, textbook information, again, Openstack. So you've got a hyperlink to take you out to the full text. Now, with OpenStax, if you do prefer a hard copy, a physical copy, you can purchase that from our bookstore. Gateway Bookstore does have some hard copies of this, I believe. And then certainly the internet, of course, right? Amazon or eBay, you know, they'll have them as well. I don't know, on Amazon, they're probably like 50 to 75 bucks. And we'll look at that in more detail in just a few minutes. Same with visible body, but this is the course link that it'll take you out. And again, if you haven't logged in yet, or if you haven't purchased the access code yet, you have three options basically. One is you can get a 14-day free trial. So if money's tight right now, or if you're not sure, you can purchase this, or you can get it for free for 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, if you've done a bunch of work and then you end up purchasing it, it's still under your account. So it keeps all of that work you did. So you don't have to worry about that. So you get a 2 week free trial. Or it'll direct you or ask you if you want to just purchase it, access right through Visible Body. I think they might take PayPal. I know they take credit cards and debit cards, of course, but maybe PayPal, Venmo, Bitcoin. I don't know. So I don't think they take Bitcoin. But anyway, Visible Body, you can purchase it directly from them, get the free 2 week trial, or you can get the access code from the bookstore. So anyway, I would recommend doing that. So part of your homework between now and next week is to get that Visible Body access. If you haven't already, I saw that, I don't know, maybe eight or 10 of you, I think, have access. So that's good. Those of you that are in here today have access. Excellent. Okay. If you are in here and you don't have access yet, also excellent. Just make sure between now and next Monday that you try to get that taken care of. And again, we'll look at Visible Body and OpenStax in just a few minutes. I did put in a couple of tabs in here as well, how to use Visible Body, some of the basics of utilizing the resources, lessons, assignments, graded quizzes. Just basically gives you kind of a tour of how to use Visible Body. So I'll show you a handful of tools and items that you can use. But you know, if that's not enough, they're excellent. Visible Body customer support is second to none. Same with OpenStax. I put how to use your OpenStax in there as well. Again, it's a free e-text, but again, if you want the hard copy, you can get that as well. Okay, so there's OpenStax, and again, we'll kind of peruse those in just a second. I really want to just get through some of the basics of Blackboard first. Instructor info, you know, it just gives you a little bit more info about me and kind of where I'm coming from, and then Zoom office link that'll get you into the Zoom room each week. And then I put some links that will directly take you to OpenStack. So if you don't have to go into textbook info every time to access OpenStax, or you can just have it, as one of your favorite, websites and have it accessible that way. OpenStax has an app. So if you download the app, you can also read the text that way. So anyway, this is a link that takes us out to OpenStax. So now seems like a good time to peruse this briefly. We've got and by the way, OpenStax it's based out of Rice University, which is in Texas. It's a very good 4-year university. I mean, excellent. In fact, their medical programs are top notch, but they kind of are the foundation or the hub for OpenStacks. And what OpenStacks is, it's a several college professors. We've submitted and reviewed and kind of collectively worked on a free open source textbook. The thing about anatomy and physiology textbooks is they're extremely expensive. They're $200-300 we're seeing students spend every semester, every year, and that's a lot of money. So we thought, well, can we come up with something that students can use that isn't going to cost them anything, unless they want the hard copy? It's still inexpensive, $40-50. So this has been created, and you have several contributing authors, and then we contribute continually. So this is continually updated and refreshed. And so anyway, that's kind of the backstory of OpenStacks. Now, this is the headline page or the main page for the A&P text. You can find student resources here. So you click on that and it'll take you to some student resources, such as getting started with OpenStacks. There's a pronunciation guide. Anatomy Zone is kind of a separate website that's got quizzes, practice quizzes, note card creation, videos, illustrations. So Anatomy Zone's good as well. There's some student solution guides that will help you with any of the problems that you may be working on in OpenStacks. Now, there's no homework associated with OpenStack specifically. You know, there are test questions, review questions, all kinds of questions. Those are not required. Certainly, they'll help you if you choose to do them. But anyway, time management guide. And so I'm telling you, I've been teaching A&P for 22 years now. May of 2000 was my first A&P class that I ever taught. So we're going on 22 years, and I'm telling you guys, thousands and thousands and thousands of students later, the common thread of those who struggle the most is seriously has little to do with aptitude, has more to do with time management. So if you have a job or jobs, you have other courses, you have family obligations, maybe you have children, maybe you have siblings that you have to take care of. You maybe have older relatives that you're helping with, especially during COVID. Your time is potentially going to be spread pretty thinly. So, and not just now, but once you're out in the real world. So being able to manage your time, being able to say no, being able to say yes, being able to know when to say no and when to say yes, those are extremely important when it comes to time management. Being able to be somewhat flexible with your time, but not to a detriment of you taking care of what you need to take care of. So there's finding that balance, right, of flexibility and rigidity and being able to somehow make it work. But time management is crucial in any walk of life, but especially when you're adding in a new subject and a new course like anatomy and physiology, because it is a foreign language. There's a lot of Greek and Latin terminology here. So again, if you follow the steps that I have in Blackboard and just stay on track from Monday to Monday, don't, at 11 o'clock today when we're done, or it might be before 11, but whenever we're done this morning till 9:20 next Monday, don't kick back and say, yep, went to class was great, dude's awesome, it's gonna be smooth, I'll just due dates the 25th of April, I still got 3 months to get this done, I'm cool. Yep. Yeah, don't do that. Don't punch in today, punch out today, and then punch in next week. You need to make sure you're doing stuff maybe not every day, but again, at least a couple times a week, you need to log in. So anyway, that's that. So I'm just telling you from experience, most students that struggle, it's not because of what I'm providing them and what they have to do to understand the material. It's a matter of time management and being able to make time available to work on all of that. So anyway, that's OpenStacks. Go back to book details. Again, you can certainly, between now and next Monday, go ahead and start to look at OpenStacks. You've got the table of contents. So if we go back over to our calendar, we notice the OpenStacks chapters for Unit 1 are chapters 1 through 5. Now, again, that doesn't mean that you're going to read word for word every single thing in chapters 1 through 5. In fact, that is the total opposite, really, of what you want to do. It's nearly impossible. I've never read a textbook cover to cover in 30 plus years of being either a college student or a college professor. I've never read a textbook cover to cover, and neither should you. So a textbook is a reference tool. And the way OpenStacks is set up, it's basically a one-stop guide to everything A&P. So the anatomy part and the physiology parts are together. So we use this book for advanced A&P as well. So keep that in mind as you're going through this semester, some of the questions and looking at some of what OpenStacks may be discussing. If it's a physiological principle or chemical reaction or anything to do with that super micro scale of chemical level and cellular level, you probably just want to maybe scan it or pass right over it. Your focus this semester is truly on what structure is it. So anyway, one thing I wanted to show you with OpenStacks and with all of these chapters, and I have some of the links in here as well, but you have access to certainly the body of the chapters and the information, but they also give you key terms. So if we open up the key terms tab, this will help give you some information regarding the assignments that you're going to see here in a few minutes, which involve some definitions and understanding some of the basics that way. So some of it's already done for you. So when I show you the assignments, you'll see there are some definitions that you need to look at. So you might be able to find these right in OpenStacks. There's a chapter review for every chapter, just like in any book. But these chapter reviews are pretty short. What I recommend to students, as I said earlier, I don't expect you to read page 1 to page 200, cover to cover week by each week. So what I would do is start at the review. So instead of viewing it as a review, view it as a preview. So go through and just kind of read these. 1.1. So here's the whole chapter 1, all 180 pages of chapter 1 condensed into like one page. So this will give you maybe a better kind of preview and breakdown of what it is that we're doing in this particular chapter. And then after that, you can look at the key terms. You can maybe go in and look at some of the specifics. But we also have review questions, critical thinking questions. Again, these are not required. These are, you could go the whole semester and never even touch OpenStacks potentially. I hope that's not the case, but you certainly could. By the way, if you possess a different A&P textbook, that's going to work fine too. A&P textbooks from one to another are very similar. A humorist is a humorist, no matter what A&P book or author it is. So the abdominal pelvic cavity has the same organs in it, whether we're looking at OpenStacks or whether we're looking at Kevin Patton's book or whether we're looking at whatever book it is. So any A&P book is a good resource or reference tool. All right. So anyway, I've even found them at Salvation Armies and Goodwills. It could be 5-10 years old, but it's, anatomy doesn't change much over the years. So you never know. You may be able to find an A&P book at a garage sale. Well, they're not doing garage sales right now, but they're a little chilly. But anyway, Salvation Army, Goodwills, even just go onto Amazon and type in anatomy physiology text and pick up a cheap one. You can get an older edition, 3 or 4 years old, for like 10, 15 bucks. And it doesn't even really matter who the author is. They're all good. So anyway, that's OpenStacks. If you have questions ever on that and how to use OpenStacks, again, let me know. And again, we've been using it for about 2.5 years now. And, you know, every student's different, whether we use even from the previous text we use, you know. So some students like it and use it a lot. Some students like it, don't use it very much. Some students don't know whether they like it or not because they never use it. So to each their own. Now, visible body, let's go check out visible body for a few minutes. Okay. So when you get into visible body, you're going to have your assignments area here. Let me get the student view so it looks like what you would see. It generally, it looks about the same. Okay. So when we go over to our calendar, I have them numbered 1 through 5, 6 and 7, 8 through 10, etc. Well, they don't number them, so that's one of the tricky aspects potentially. But they're numbered. You have to count them. This is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first 5 visible bodies are here. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at this group of stuff here. Okay. And then the next one says, I think 6 and 7. So that's going to be 6, 7, etc. So again, they're not numbered, but this is the numbering. 1 through 5 are the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So first thing, getting started, there's a little plus to open the folder. Okay. So if anything you click, Invisible Body is going to take you to a new screen. Getting started with Visible Body is a PDF. It'll take me out to about a 10, 11 page PDF. So you're going to want to look through this as well between now and next week. Okay. Between now and next Tuesday, your goal is to get this first Visible Body, at least unit 1, or not unit 1, but number 1 done, which is the intro. Okay, so then next week when we're together and we're going to dive right in and start doing Visible Body together. So and I'll walk you through it, but between now and then I want you to first of all make sure you have access to Visible Body and you can log in and get to the courseware. Secondly, then once you've done that, I want you to go in and do the kind of the introduction here. Okay. There are apps, and again, this talks about all of that, shows you that there are apps. You have access to these apps for life. So these first 2 are excellent. They do take up quite a bit of space, especially you know, if you've got a tablet and it's running out of memory. You may not be able to get these on there. I don't know. But anyway, these 2 apps, I think the Human Anatomy Atlas is like $25 or $30 by itself. And I think this one's about 20. So between the 2 apps, basically these pay for the whole it's worth it. And you have access to these forever, for life. Now, the courseware, what you signed up for and what you're going to do your assignments in with Visible Body, this part of it, you have access to, I believe, for 1 year. So we only use it for general A&P. Okay, so make sure you go through that. Again, it's under the plus, getting started, and then click getting started with Visible Body, and then click it again, and it'll pop that right open. Okay. Let's see. And then there's a short getting started quiz. Okay. And it's a graded quiz. So whenever it says graded quiz, those are the 45 quizzes that you'll be doing in Visible Body. And again, 45 seems like a big number, but they're pretty short. They're pretty straightforward. They're only 10 questions each. You have unlimited attempts at these as well. So yeah, this first quiz, the getting started quiz, it's just going to ask you some questions. And again, you have unlimited attempts and it keeps your highest score. So, so anyway, getting started. So try to get that done between now and next Monday. There we go. Okay. And that's it for that one. And then the next up, so if you do that today, get that out of the way, and then jump right in. The next one, Introduction to Human Anatomy and Physiology. So the next folder, this is Visible Body 2, Visible Body 1, Chapter 1. This is Chapter 2. There's nothing to really do here except view and look at, and there's guided notes for A&P terms. So it downloaded a Word doc. Okay. These two, so this is a downloaded Word doc with a bunch of A&P terminology. One thing we'll see over these next few weeks is there's a lot of prefixes and suffixes and roots. If you've taken medical terminology, you're ahead of the game already, and you'll find this to be pretty smooth sailing. If you haven't taken med term, that's okay, because we kind of try to give you quite a bit of medical terminology in this semester. So anyway, you've got a couple other things that go through prefixes and suffixes, some of the common prefixes and suffixes that we use. So again, you go through this on your own between now and next week. I'll probably talk about it a little bit for a few minutes at the beginning. Again, some of the more common prefixes and suffixes that we'll see and that we use throughout. Okay? And again, this is like medical term stuff. So A&P is more than just learning a bunch of stuff and forgetting about it. It's really everything you're going to do and see in the clinic is going to relate back to a lot of what we do in here this semester. So anyway, and then the next little ebook or PDF is planes and positions. So anyway, not much to do there with these two, just kind of, as a little quiz into getting started. No quiz in the introduction. So now, and so these two, you can whip through those without any trouble. The next one, cells and cell metabolism. Okay, again, now's when we're getting into the actual kind of, nitty gritty, if you will, our kind of our first main look at body systems. And before we get into the actual systems, we have to build a little bit with some of the micro stuff. So we go through cells a little bit, then we go through tissues a little bit. Now, again, you will find in some of the cell information that there's some physiology. It may talk about cellular metabolism. It may talk about synthesis of proteins. It may talk about ATP or glycolysis. Remember, these are physiology concepts. We really don't want you getting too neck deep with that stuff this semester. Just tiny little introduction is one thing. Our focus really is on structures. Now, when we do talk about, especially some of these cell structures, they have weird names, like Golgi, apparatus, and mitochondria, ribosome. So endoplasmic reticulum. We have some weird kind of names that go on with some of these cell structures. So understanding maybe some of the basic functions is a good thing. So I guess when I say, you're going to come across functional discussions and chemical reaction stuff this semester in general, it's okay. Just, take it in and then move on. We're going to get deeper with it next semester. So anyway, cell life cycle, that gets into, again, some of the interphase and mitosis and cell division. Okay, so all right. So anyway, don't get too bogged down by the intensity. Now, notice, so in introduction, cells and tissue, cell structures and functions, cell life cycle. Again, if you watch my lecture videos, I go through all of this information as well. Now, this says cell structure and function, multiple choice, dissection, multiple choice. Now, come over your notes, they say practice quizzes. These are just practice quizzes. You're not required to do these. I'd recommend it. You might as well get the most out of your visible body experience. Okay. So what you do, or what you have to do, is where it says graded quizzes. Okay, so modules and practice quizzes, that's where you'll start each of these units or each of these sections. And then you'll finish each of these folders doing the graded quizzes. Now, this says graded quizzes. That means there are more than one under that folder. And we see 3. These are 3 short quizzes. Okay, 10 questions each. Okay, so these are out of your 45. Here's 3 of them done right here. So you have multiple choice, and then for 2 of them, and then a dissection quiz. And again, if you went through and did this part and did the practice quizzes, when you get to the graded quiz part, which is what I record, should be smooth sailing. All right, so that's cells, and so next week when we're together, we're going to look at this in a little more detail. We're going to look at tissues in a little more detail. And again, you see the same thing, right, that we saw with cells, modules and practice quizzes with the graded quizzes, modules and practice quizzes for tissue or quiz, and then graded quiz for tissues. So there's just one quiz for tissues. And then finally, at the end of next week, or maybe even heading into week 3, we'll finish all of unit 1 with the integumentary system or the skin. So that's what we see here. Again, same thing, modules and practice quiz, and practice quizzes. Anatomy ID, again, that's a new one. We haven't seen that yet, so I'll open that up in a sec. And then there's your graded quizzes. So again, it's the graded quizzes. That's what goes in the grade book. When I say in the back in the syllabus, you have 45 quizzes, that's what I'm talking about, graded quizzes. Again, they're just 10 questions, unlimited time, unlimited attempts, highest score is kept. So, anyway, Anatomy ID is just going to take you to a 3D view of whatever it is we're looking at. So for integumentary, we look at skin, we get a 3D view of the skin. And again, next week we'll dive in a little bit deeper with the visible body. And again, it's a very heavy, thick, very meaty program. So there's some lag sometimes. It's some slow runnings. I have a bunch of windows open. We're running Zoom. So that's why, for the most part, there'll be times when again you'll be doing some of this together in your breakout rooms, or all right, this is one of the apps, by the way, that the Human Anatomy Atlas. I'm just waiting for it to pop up. There it goes. See, so again, this is an app. This works really well on. This works great on your phone or your tablet. My computer works great as well. But again, when I'm running Zoom and running visible body, Blackboard, got a lot of stuff going on. So there we go. So just be patient with it. So this is the anatomy ID. So again, let me go back to visible body. So whenever you see anatomy ID, it's going to take you to that right here, anatomy ID. It's going to take you to that app. So again, when you go over to my apps, this one here, Human Anatomy Atlas. So anatomy ID, that's going to it's going to have 3D gross anatomy as well as microanatomy. If you have an Apple iPad or an iPhone, this has augmented reality as well. So anyway, there's a lot of wonderful bells and whistles that come with this. But all of these apps are yours for free. So you can peruse these to activate, use the following credentials. So it tells you what your username and password are if you download these to your phone or Android. So anyway, get those apps. They're awesome. If you want, I'm not, like I say, you may not have enough room. Okay, so Anatomy ID opens up that. And again, we can move this around. We can tap on an item, and it'll tell us a little bit give us some info about it. Actually, my face is covering it up. So it'll tell us what it is. You can click the pronunciation. It'll tell you how to pronounce it. Click pathologies. It'll give you some common diseases and disorders. And then certainly click on the definition. And then we have other related images as well. So, or you can just click on one little item. We can pull up a Meissner corpuscle. Okay. So this is going to come in handy when you are, I'll show you in just a sec, when you're doing your assignments. Okay. So that's visible body. And again, well, look, that's really what we're going to do each Monday. Now, this is a hybrid course with the 2 hours of the section meeting in this synchronous online setting. So those 2 hours are generally going to be getting stuff done, assignments, labs, etc. All right, so that's visible body, Openstacks, lab safety. Again, we don't meet on campus for lab, but I left this in here. You should be introduced to some basics regarding lab safety in a wet lab. So you'll probably have microbiology at the very least in a face-to-face lab setting. So there's an extra credit 10-question quiz you could do. So you're piling on extra credit, right? Remember, you want to go to the syllabus, click mark reviewed. You want to do this lab safety training quiz for extra credit. So that's 10 points plus another 10 points. You have 20 extra credit points before you've even done any assignments potentially. Okay, so that's that lab safety quiz. Boundless A&P and Wisconsin Online A&P, those are just extra sites, just more tools for helping. So let's get to we're almost there, guys. You guys we've been going almost an hour already, but we're in the home stretch. Okay, so under the units tab, you're going to see all 5 of the units. So again, if we go back to our calendar, we see everything broken down into 5 units. Okay. I'm going to shut some of these windows real quick. So I do want to keep that one open because I want to refer us back to that in just a second. So anyway, we look at our calendar and we see that, again, there are 5 units. So we come into our visible body into our Blackboard under units, and we'll find all 5 units. So the first unit 1, which we're doing over these first few weeks, again, gives you some of the directions, and these directions hold true throughout. This is everything I just went through with you. Okay, the getting started with visible body, guided notes, modules, practice quizzes, etc. So everything we just talked about and went through for visible body, that's what's in here. And then the unit 1 assignment. So each of your units will have an assignment with them. So we'll look at that in just a few minutes. This is a Dropbox. So I have another spot that you can do the Dropbox. I have a hyperlink tab over here under assignments, so you can access all of your Dropboxes in one spot. So you don't have to go in here if you don't, So anyway, so I'll show you that in just a few seconds. The rest of under this unit 1 folder, there's the visible body course link again, in case you lost it. And then these are all those Openstacks resources that I mentioned that I have in Blackboard. So you can certainly go through those if you'd like. And then the Padlet links as well. And you can mark those as reviewed as you go as well. Okay, as you do those Padlets, which again, I'll talk about all of that in just a second. So that's what you're going to find under units. It's kind of the one-stop shop for everything. The other thing you find under units is the final exam. Again, it's 150 multiple choice questions from a test bank of 250 questions, 3-hour time limit, but you have unlimited attempts and it keeps the highest grade. I noticed already in one of my other general A&P courses, a student's already taken it. Which is fine. Like I said, you could start taking it right now and take it every day, every week, or whatever you want. So, so there you go. Okay, so that's units. We're almost done, guys. We're home stretch. Units, and then Google Slides. These are the slideshows that I do with my videos. Now, these first couple I left in here just more or less for your own info. Since we don't get to do any wet labs together, I figured I'd put my sheep brain, cow eye, pig heart dissection information in there, so you can look through those. I believe I might have some video links in there. You can even just go on YouTube and type in sheep brain dissection if you want. So if you want to view dissections, that's info's there. Now, here are all of the PowerPoints or the Google Slides that I have for each unit. So when you watch the videos in my lecture videos, these are the slides that I'm talking about. So generally in P Unit 1. So this is our first 2 to 3 weeks. We go through and focus on the basic organization of the body. And then we get into a little bit of cells and chemistry, not much, a little bit of tissues and skin. So these are the slides these are my slides. So you can certainly, you can look through these. They have speaker notes on some of them, like this one, anatomy and physiology. So down here at the bottom, you'll notice I have my speaker notes typed in. Those are helpful as well. So when you're looking through these PowerPoints, make sure you read that information to go along with it. Okay, so those are all of the Google slides. And then the course YouTube channel will take you to the spot where you're going to find the videos where I discuss the slides. So this general A&P introduction is from last week. This is my 7-week online course. It's set up just like yours, but they have to do it in 7 weeks. So you can watch that if you want. It basically goes through the same stuff that I'm talking about here. So anyway, here are the PowerPoint or the slideshows and me discussing them. Okay, so you'll want to look through those. There's a few visible body discussion, kind of how-tos and stuff. So so yeah, make sure that you're going in and looking at these videos as you go through and study your A&P. All right, so lastly is this little section, the Padlets, the assignments, and the final exam. This is your graded section. And again, all of that information is in your units area. So if I click on the Padlet quizzes, so again, if we go back to our syllabus, back to the syllabus, and we look at how you're graded, again, Padlets, assignments, visible body quizzes, which are in visible body, and then the final exam. I don't know why that just did that. Okay, so Padlets, that's where I'm going to show you the Padlets and the Padlet quiz, and then I'll show you the unit lab assignments, and then that'll be it. Okay, so 2 things for the Padlets. You notice you have Padlet 1 and then Padlet quiz 1. So if you go under the Padlet quizzes tab, click Padlet 1, it'll take you out to the first Padlet. And a Padlet is a collection of websites, videos, basically information that discusses what we're doing for the unit. So we've got an introduction to A&P, Professor Dave, Amoeba Sisters. So you've got several different videos in here that just talk about the basics of A&P. So you can watch one of them, you can watch all of them, but you definitely going to want to go through and spend a few minutes watching some of these. And then once you're done, or once you've seen enough, you can scroll through and see what other students have commented on regarding the videos. And maybe that will, maybe that's how you determine which one you want to watch. You can see what other students have written about them, and then see which one gets the best reviews and watch that. So then what you'll do is hit the plus button under whichever Padlet you want to talk about. And some students comment on under all of them. Some comment under a couple of them. It's totally up to you. So you click that little plus button, and then under the subject, you're going to want to type your first and last name. Otherwise, it'll just come up as anonymous. So, which is fine, because you notice if you don't have a subject, you can put your name in the body of whatever you type. So the easiest way to do is just put your name in the subject line and then type whatever you want to type. It could be one sentence, it could be a whole paragraph. Okay. Once you've done that, then you're going to go over to the Padlet quiz, which is really not a quiz. It's simply a 1-question Likert scale asking you how beneficial the Padlet was. The Padlet videos and websites were beneficial to your understanding of introductory A&P concepts. Okay. Answer it. Click save and submit, and you're done. So some students go through again, Padlet 1 through 4, I believe, go with unit 1. So you can get all those knocked out. Okay, Padlet quizzes. Okay. And then assignments. So here are your 5-unit assignments. Okay. And again, you can find those under units as well. But this is a direct link right to where we can find it. Okay, so the unit 1 assignment. Now, unit 1, I was able to make as a Google Doc as well as a Word doc. Now, the other 4, so units 2, 3, 4, 5, are only available as a Word doc. So you would have to download that to your computer and then type right into it. And then once you're done, just attach it into the Dropbox and click submit. So Google Doc, unit 1 assignment. And all of the assignments look similar. You're going to have a series of terms first, anywhere between 70 and 150 terms. Now, the key to doing these assignments is I don't necessarily need you to type in a definition for every single one of these. This is more or less kind of like a checklist. These are the items in unit 1 that you need to recognize, that you need when you see the word organelle, you need to know what it means. When you see the word tissue, you need to know what that means. So as you're going through unit 1, you can define these any way you want. Some students, they literally put a check mark and type just a couple of words that are that they can associate with that. So like for anatomy, you could just simply put structure. Physiology, you could put function. Okay. So this is your experience, not mine. So I provide you with tons of options. How you experience, how you choose to have the experience, totally up to you. But so anyway, how you define these, totally up to you. Now, when we remember in Openstacks, it has key terms, so you can find them that way. You can even come in here and highlight that term, whatever term it is. You can right click on it and look at that, define anatomy. You can just click that and it'll face out of the way here. It's lagging. Like I say, I've got so many things open. It's got to be this visible body that's just kicking my computer's butt here. So let's see. I don't know why that usually it pops right up with here, or you can click explore anatomy. There we go. I think I clicked define. So explore anatomy. So it'll pop it right into your Google sheet. And then, you can do it however you want. Check and check. So you come over here, physiology, highlight it, right click, explore physiology. Look up images as well. Basically puts a little mini Google in your assignment. Okay, so that's one way of going through that. Oh, and by the way, all of my documents are read only or view only. So if you want this as your own, you have to come over to file and you can click make a copy. And it'll give you this option. And then that is your copy. You can edit that. Or which most students do is they go to file, they click download Microsoft Word doc. And then it'll download it. And then you type that in. And then that's what you put into the Dropbox. Okay. So part 2, it relates more to the visible body stuff. So again, as you're going through your visible body stuff, you'll be able to fill these in. Now, the other thing you could do too is you could just Google, you could type in, and again, you can do it right in here. So you don't have to have a bunch of windows open. Right click, explore body cavities, click image, and there you go. What's the name of the body cavity and what are the major organs and what's the membrane associated with it? Okay. And this says abdominal quadrants and regions. So again, you can just come right over, highlight it, right click, explore abdominal contents, their quadrants and regions. Okay. Type them in. And again, all this information is everywhere. It's in your Openstacks. It's in my Google Slides. It's everywhere. Directional terminology, so on. Okay. Guys doing good? Hanging in there? I know it's a lot of info, but you have 14 weeks to get it all squared away. Next week, like I say, we'll work on some of this together. And so between now and then, you might as well start at least taking a peek at it. So anyway, organelles of the cell structures. And then this is the one we really will focus at. We may not have time next week to do this. If we don't, we'll do it the following week. But yeah, tissue identification, this is a good one to work on together because it can be a little bit complex. And then finally, this looks a lot like, and I closed it out, but that visible body image from the skin, I'll help you answer that. And again, I mean, like I say, this is the same skin diagrams, skin anatomy identification. It's the same no matter what book you're using or what tools you use. So anyhow, once you're done with once you fill out your assignment, then you can click browse local files. You have to save it to your computer or your flash drive and browse local files, find it, double click it. It puts it right into your Dropbox and then click submit and you're done. I know it's a lot of info on the first day, but again, I've got the video from last week. I recorded this, so you can go back and watch that if you want. But yeah, it's oh, and the rest of this, your grades. Oh, it's got the final, of course. You can access that anytime. Your grade book, emails, just some other helpful stuff here. So your job between now and next Monday is to go through the syllabus a little bit, mark that you reviewed it, start just kind of looking at Unit 1, get acclimated a little bit with Blackboard, get comfortable with OpenStacks a little bit, get comfortable with visible body. We'll purchase Access if you haven't already. But that's really all I had today. I really just wanted to, like I say, make sure we went through and looked at some of the basics of Blackboard and make sure everybody was on board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think there's one student. Let's see. Hey, I think it's Haley. Haley, I know you're having some issues. That's okay. I'm gonna I'm going to put your name in the, there we go. I'm putting your name in the chat so I can keep track of who was here and all that good stuff. So I think the rest of you did. Yeah, if you haven't put your name in the chat, please do so now, but I think all of you have. Now, do you guys have any questions or anything? You can type them in the chat. You can unmute yourself. You do whatever you want as far as it goes. But that's all I have for you today. Like I say, just spend the next week kind of getting acclimated to Blackboard. Get going on your unit 1 stuff. It's broken down. It's very structured. So yeah, that's all I had this morning for you. So enjoy your day and stay warm. Like I say, tonight around midnight or so, and pretty much all day Tuesday and Wednesday, they're going to be wind chills, maybe 40 below zero. That's kind of scary. So make sure you get out and get your groceries and